But I kind of wanted to watch this first. This is Marco. He's my friend. You might know him from his Genshin music reacts or just his other gaming music reacts. You might know him as a voice actor on the Genshin cast. He voiced, what's his name? Dvorak. Yeah, Dvorak. Thank you. Thank you, Panic Moon. I want to watch this video because I feel like it's something that I'm going to resonate with.
I have been how do I explain this? I have become obsessed with figuring out how to provide value. What does that even mean?
Ooh. Ooh, that is already familiar. I'm going to move my my camera because he's on one side and I want to be on the other side.
Providing value. Uh, do I provide value? Is what I do beneficial? Is how I do it good? And I've been going to therapy, and
Same.
my therapist was like, why don't you just go back to how you used to do videos, which was like all the way back, right? Which was like reactions to single songs. What he really means is like, why don't you just go back to just like enjoying stuff? Like the reason why it was so like relaxed and you know, I had like 20-minute introductions, like 5-minute intros, and I would just be like, yeah, so blah 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 blah. And then like I wasn't thinking about like I gotta get my numbers up, I gotta do my watch time, I gotta cut the intro short so that they'll get right into the meat, and then they won't skip, and the retention will still be 30%. You know, like, oh, I gotta make sure I'm constantly talking, and
Yeah, so Marco is the opera singer that covered one of the songs in Expedition 33. He also reacted to the soundtrack of Expedition 33, I'm pretty sure, because his main content is reacting to video game music. Marco is a gamer at heart. He's also an opera singer. He's classically trained. And he just has a lot of experience in that regard. It's his specialty essentially. I got to know him because he reacted to a bunch of Genshin music. He's a big lover of it and its cultural influences, and he also voices Dvorak, who is an NPC in Genshin. He and I have talked several times, and he's a really wonderful person, really really friendly, always very genuine. And this is a frustration that I felt that a lot of creators feel, and it's really nice to hear him talk about it. And I totally get what he's saying about how before he would just focus on making things that he enjoyed or doing things how he enjoyed them. But then part of being a YouTuber and like trying to maximize things is trying to maximize the factors that YouTube weighs in order to push out your video to the algorithm, which is watch time, click through rate. When he talks about like cutting the intro short, or he'll probably talk about thumbnails eventually, but also he has a thumbnail artist, which is really great. His thumbnail artist does a good job. But when he talks about like making his content give value, that is the mindset that a lot of YouTubers have to learn to adopt in order to survive. Because people on YouTube, whenever we make a video, we're very concerned with, does this have value or enough value to keep viewers watching? Because the more viewers watch, the more viewers click, and viewers will click more if they trust that you are giving them value, you know? Um, then the better that YouTube will treat your videos, the more views you're going to get, which is what YouTube is all about, basically. Yeah, it's another case of CC versus the algorithm. So,
I gotta talk, I gotta provide value, and it's like, well, what is that, and what is value? Because if you go all the way back to oldest, I'm just kind of sitting there. I talk like 3 times throughout a song. Maybe I'll stop. Maybe I won't even stop. There's a couple videos where I just straight up don't stop, and I'm just like, man, that song fucking rocks, right? And I think what happened was, in the desire to sort of even out, like, you know, and gather everybody, what I started doing was really like making sure I'm talking a lot, because I got to make sure I'm talking and providing value. But I think maybe I don't need to do that.
I totally relate to what he's saying about talking a lot and trying to provide value because before, when I would play Genshin Archon quests or when I would watch the live stream, a part of me always wanted to talk because I would always be afraid that if I didn't, I would just look like just some random streamer Andy who's just like playing through the thing and like nothing sets me apart. You know, like that I wouldn't have a voice in the thing. I later on realized that some people appreciated me not talking over things like the live stream or me not talking over dialogue. But that being said, I also think that there are certain balances that can be struck between talking through a thing and sharing your thoughts on a thing versus just like, watching the thing because I mean, YouTube wise, the thing with React content that a lot of people complain about is that it's cheap and it's basically like stealing content. Um no one wants to be accused of stealing content, especially YouTube creators who are taking this thing seriously. Sure, there are YouTube creators who like just want to do the easy thing, hence React content. But there is that entire thing of like, what does the person reacting to the media, what value do they add? So there is like, I totally understand what he's saying in that regard.
Um, Sometimes, admittedly, I undermine myself and my background and my experience. And I think I also carry baggage that is complicated, but carry baggage from my past. And scarcity mindset. Oh no, the roof is gonna fall. The rug is gonna get pulled under from under me. I'm not gonna be a YouTuber anymore. Like I love this job. I love this job so much, so much. Like this is the coolest job ever. I don't ever want to leave. I'm gonna be here for the rest of your life. Like I want to be here.
He's like, I'm gonna be here for the rest of. Yeah, I love that. Like, yeah, I'm gonna be here threateningly. You can't tear us away from this job. YouTube creators who have reached a certain level of obsession with YouTube and with creating, like, we don't want to do anything else. This is a great job. He's love him for admitting that and for mentioning it very aggressively because it's a very strong feeling.
I want to do this, and I obviously want to keep growing and stuff, but there's like that mental thing where it's like, well, you're not growing fast enough and you're not doing, and it's like, bro, just like chill out, just push pause, take a break. I've done 1,500 videos in 3 years. I've loved nearly every single one.
1,500 is an insane amount in 3 years. I've had my YouTube channel for 4 years. I'm at 700 something. 1,500 is crazy. My guy, Marco. Okay, buddy, you're doing great.
And it's been so much fun to do this. I love this so much. And I kind of want to just want to make a bad video. Like, what's it like to just make something that I think is bad, and then you guys end up liking
That's so
it?
valid.
And it's like, why? When I was first starting my YouTube channel, I would purposely make videos when I didn't feel like filming because I wanted to see where the bar was, because my bar is insanely high, and maybe that's just perfectionism and being crazy, right? Like maybe I'm just
Okay, that is actually really interesting. I don't know if I've ever heard of any of another creator doing that where he films when he doesn't feel like filming or he makes a video when he doesn't feel like filming just to see where the bar is. Like that is like really interesting experimentation in that regard because most YouTubers I know, they've done it with a perfectionist treatment. They do it like when they feel best filming, when they feel most optimal editing. They max out every hour that they can, trying to produce the perfect product. And it's really interesting hearing Marco say that, oh, he tried to make like subpar videos before just to see where the bar is. And honestly, that's kind of, I wonder if it worked. I wonder.
crazy. Um, but I always put the bar really high. But no one ever noticed when I didn't really want to do it or I was phoning it in a little bit, which is fine. I mean, that's normal, right? But like, what happens if I make a ranking video or listening to a bunch of Pokemon or Sonic or whatever, Zelda, and I don't talk that much and I just listen and I just absorb instead of trying to find something? And I think that's the thing that kind of gets me tired. So I try to find things to that be like, well, I gotta provide this. And I think who's the judge of like what providing value even is? Me really. I mean, and you guys, because you choose to watch what you watch or don't watch, right? But it's like, I don't need, I think I find myself working very hard mentally to make sure that my place is cemented. And that goes into separate conversation on validation and, you know, seeking things out, so on and so forth, which is don't really need to have. That's my journey, and I think that journey is actually going pretty well. I'm feeling really good about.
I So all that mental work that he's talking about, like trying to cement your place, or that he keeps his place cemented, it I feel that a lot. It's a huge toll. It's a huge like overthinking toll, like how to keep yourself, where you were. And for me, I definitely know that views wise on YouTube, I'm currently not where I used to be. And I might not be for a while, just because I'm trying to do like this transition that's very, very strange and kind of alien and very impractical for most YouTubers who know their shit. But him talking about how he wants to make a bad video, he doesn't want to overthink value, he doesn't want to, he wants to go back to something that he enjoys. It's like very, very valid.
Who I am in the world, and I'm grateful for this job, and I'm grateful for stuff. So I guess what I'm saying is like I, I'm gonna well, I'm slowing down a tiny bit, just because like I can't keep up with the momentum that I've had for the last 3 years. It's kind of not realistic. I mean, I love this. So like, I love making videos. I love talking. I just love, bleh. I just love that. And I think this is the kind of video I want to make. I want to just push record. You know, I went to like a YouTube course and they're like, don't just push record. Always make sure you have like other bullet points or a script. Make sure you're working on retention. And I think what that did, even though I really appreciated the class because I learned some of the back end of stuff, is that I ended up like becoming obsessive with like, well, I got to provide value. Data is a tool, not everything. The algorithm follows.
You know what? I'm sorry to like stop him in the middle of that discussion, but what's really interesting about the whole I just want to push record and then considering that a bad video is that recently there's been a rise in vlogs where people just talk to the camera like this. Basically, I've watched some YouTube analysts talk about how vlogs these days, or the vlogs that do really, really well, these are people who kind of just talk to the camera and they talk about something, but it's barely edited. Like there's barely, they don't even put up, I don't know, extra B-roll in the background. It's literally just them talking to a camera about some topic. And it's not even edited. And that's something that has been popping off lately. So, it doesn't even need to be regarded a bad video if he just like talks to the camera, as long as he's like solid in what exactly he's talking about. And even if he's not solid about what he's talking about, like just the like personalness of it, or the authenticity of it that he can bring about with that simplicity of content, like it's not even gonna be bad. Like Alex Hermosi in the car yapping. Yeah, exactly. People just make car vlogs, people make vlogs walking outside, people make there's like this dude who I think is a carpenter or makes woodwork, and then he started like vlogging and talking about things that weren't related to woodwork and housing and stuff, and he was like popping off.
The audience, you know, like my key tenants over here. There's no one way to do YouTube. And I find myself like pulled in a million different directions. Plus dealing with, you know, YouTube commentary and people that come into your space and not, and obviously it's not always positive at this state
Yeah.
in my career on YouTube, which is fine. I'm grateful
Yeah.
for it because it's just it comes with the territory. But it's a lot of noise. And so going back to basics, going back to being like, hey, I have a thought, not I need to search for a thought to say it. That's a big difference.
Yeah.
And I do have 14 years of experience. So naturally, because of experience, my thoughts are going to be probably valuable, maybe. Or maybe not. Maybe they're just going to be a bunch of there's just butt talk.
Butt
So
talk.
so yeah.
Yeah. Him saying having a thought instead of searching for a thought is so real. I like he might have developed that problem in a different way from me, but I developed that problem because I was scared for a time when I was making Genshin content. I was scared to have a thought that wasn't like a guide that wasn't a how to. I was scared to have a thought that was an opinion rather than a how to. For him, he's worried that just the thoughts that he naturally has isn't valuable enough, and that he has to search for ways to add value by searching for certain thoughts, which in itself is also like a difficult thing to deal with.
I kind of just want to. I don't even know why I'm making this, but I feel kind of like I just want to. I just want to like vibe.
That's so
I never wanted to
real.
be a teacher. I don't know if you saw the Davi Vosk video, but him and I both were like, I don't want to be a teacher. I don't want to be a teacher.
That's funny.
I don't want to be an educator. I want to be a connector. I want to be a communicator, which is what I was when I was an opera singer. And I'm essentially taking what everything I did for 14 years and learned to do and just brought it here. You know, and just dial it back.
Just vibe.
Not produce slop, but you know, just like not everything needs to be crazy. What? What? Oh my god! You know, like it could just be like, wow, I really liked that.
Those
It
are
was
some great
thoughtful. The end.
expressions.
You know what I mean? And I think like gathering a group of people that love and feel like pariahs, to be honest, the reason why I even started the channel was because I felt so alone, because it's like no one's talking about how great video game music is. Well, turns out all of you were. And all of you have the same predilection to enjoy music like I do. So we're already all at a common cause. We may like different games, but we all get it, you know, and that's the cool
Yeah.
part.
I think him recognizing that he has the community of video game music enjoyers is really great, because he knows that community and that crowd and that audience is there. And I think he's mostly like revisiting or reorienting himself on how to connect with that community, because that's kind of like realizing that this community doesn't necessarily need to be taught, but it's really nice to be among them and to vibe and to make content that just celebrates and appreciates that community, that concept, and that media and that material, which is video game music. As creators tend to get pulled into creation until we get lost in the hype. I know, don't get lost in the sauce, guys.
So, you know, that to me is way more interesting than like being like, well, the reason why the you know, whatever. And I was watching Maximilian Dude's recent video talking about taking a going away on vacation. And he was talking about the difference between, he was talking about discovery. And reactions are just discoveries, but just worded in a different way. And so
Oh,
what would it
I
be
like
like
that.
to just discover? Discovery is a beautiful thing. Finding new things, reconnecting with old things, discovering why you love something,
I started laughing because I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna message Marco. I'm gonna make him discover K-pop Demon Hunters.
discovering why you bonded to something 10 years ago. I'm really thankful to Max for that thought. I want to discover things. I want to continue to explore what's out there. And some of it I'm going to like really dislike, and some of it I'm going to enjoy, and some of it I'm going to be neutral on. But discovery is the name of the game. So I think that's it. I don't have anything else to say. So, okay. I'm going to try to make some what I perceive of as bad videos. They're probably going to be great. And that's it. that's appreciate you guys a lot. Thank you. I'll see you guys later. Bye.
That was real. That was very, very real. And I really appreciate Marco for speaking his mind like that. I know that it's like it's tough on him. Um but I hope that he finds a lot of joy in that mode of video making. I feel like when a creator no longer enjoys what they're doing, you can really tell. Unless that creator is just really bad, just really good at masking, you know? The whole discovery bit, that's really interesting. I never thought of it that way. And I think that's a great point, actually. And I think that's something that's a thought that I had. It wasn't worded quite as eloquently as that, but that is one thought I had as to why I really, really want to stream more again. You think that's why the lore side of games is fun, getting to figure out stuff and not having to think of meta related stuff? Yeah, it is true. Like lore sides of games are really fun. I just don't want like lore gatekeepers to be like, "Oh, that's a stupid theory and you're stupid for having that theory." Like obviously, theories can be inaccurate if they're based on like false info or like inaccurate info or some mistaken facts or something like that. But, guys, we don't gatekeep here, okay? Especially if I'm going to start looking at lore. I'm going to look like a fucking idiot because I haven't looked at lore in a long time. I've been curious and interested about it. I've watched a lot of Ashikai videos, Minzleaf videos, and Roosevelt videos. I know a lot of like the core theories, the prevailing theories. I know certain niche things about certain characters, but I haven't tried to write up a Teyvat timeline for myself. Nor do I think I ever will, because that looks like hell. That looks like a nightmare. And when Ashikai was like doing the video about the keys and the time travel and the bootstrap paradox, I was like, dude, I like time travel, but there's no way I'm going to try to put together a timeline of Teyvat. That is just like that's like asking for trouble. YouTube kind of pushes us to be more in the teacher mode. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And like essentially that was one of Harris Heller's earliest um advice sent by gaming Harris Heller, which is to be an expert in a topic so that anyone on YouTube who's looking to learn more about that topic or searching for content on that topic, they will go to you. And that if you talk about something live on stream, people will want to listen to you because they presume that they're learning more by listening to you, who is an expert on the topic, that entire thing. And honestly, like that is basically how like the Sevy Plays channel took off as a guide channel, becoming one of the experts on Genshin characters, and honestly being like the main woman in the guide making space of Genshin was a big factor of that. I'm very well aware of that fact. That's why like a lot of YouTubers gravitate towards the teaching bit, towards the looking for value and trying to deliver value bit because like practically and logically that does work. But then also there are casual YouTube viewers who just go to YouTube for entertainment and to vibe and to find creators that they want to vibe with, you know. Now the become so good they can't ignore you, like that's literally a book. So I have an audiobook that I'm in the middle of. It's called so good they can't ignore you or something like that, and it takes a slightly different approach to things, and the gist of it is basically that you hone your skills so well that you're an expert at it and people can't ignore you. They have to hire you, they have to employ you, they have to watch you, they have to be fans of you. But also the other side of that entire book is explaining how a skills-based approach to career finding is arguably better and more sustainable than a passion based approach to career finding, which is its own thing. We can talk about that another time, but that is its own thing. And it's not necessarily equivalent to what Marco was talking about and to what Harris Heller is talking about, but it is like adjacent. So, jack of all trades, master of none, but oftentimes better than a master of one. So I think about that quote a lot because sometimes I'm like, man, I really love doing so many things, and I can get obsessed with things and hyperfixated on things enough to become like quite good at them, but I've never stuck with one thing long enough to become a master of it. And that's kind of hard for me to contend with sometimes because it makes me feel lost, guys. Like it sometimes makes me feel lost, like, oh my god, I feel like I'm not good enough at anything. But no, like that's just a story I tell myself to put myself down because it is like it does have its own benefits to be good at several things, you know. So anyway, that's that, and I appreciate Marco a whole lot.